Good day. How you all doing? All right. So, guys, can you see the screen first of all? All right. Thank you. Cool. So, let's start. Yesterday, we did have a few holidays here in Europe, so I guess that might be causing a bit of less action for some of the pairs, especially the ones related to the euro. But today, I think we're going to be back to normal, especially once we overlap with the US session. That being said, starting with the euro dollar first one. Now, for those of you who watched my video yesterday, you know my idea. I'm following the current setup like this. So basically one more push higher, then deeper pullbacks, and then continuation upwards. My understanding of this cycle is this one. Okay, so basically looking for one more leg higher here to be created around the 161.8. Daily chart looks good, nothing against us yet. Okay, we're still following the breakout situation. Weekly, monthly, it's all bullish. So euro dollar kind of easy to read at that stage. We just need to make sure we have good setups, good risk reward ratio, and attack at the correct time. That's all. Cable, next one on the list. Looking for sell opportunities, but here things are a bit trickier in my opinion. Okay, why? Because first of all, daily chart doesn't yet have not even a potential divergence, right? And that means we might be easily going for deeper moves. Okay, something like that. The idea of the breakout and the very first attacks and entries would make sense, but let's not forget we have more or less an impulsive move here. So this is a very, very, very reasonable scenario to happen. In other words, since we already have this divergence without being confirmed on the higher time frame and without the close below, these sells are, let's say, twice as aggressive as we are usually going to deal with them, right? So if a regular trade is going with 1% and aggressive trade is going with 0.5%, okay, this kind of setup would go to 0.25, for example, or 0.30, something like that. Very, very, very tiny exposure, because we have a lot of question marks and we cannot be sure if this is, well, we're actually sure that this is not the optimal place and time to attack. Okay, we have that and the overall direction plus level. That's why, in my opinion, less risk here. But overall, right, we're looking for sells even if we're going to create one more push higher. The Orient, this one I'm looking for sells, and the interesting part here is that this range starts to be broken, right? We had the first attempt here without divergences, okay? Then another attempt after the spike lower, keeping that zone. It couldn't even spike through it, so it kind of started to push upwards. All right, I'm not sure what this pattern would be called, some kind of expanding, I don't know what, right? But it's important for us to follow the levels, not the name. And currently the levels are from these highs, right? Those are the dynamic levels. I have a zone right here, approximately around, was that 108.80, 90. So a possible sell scenario here would be this one. Let's just measure the final push. Boom. Guess where 61.8 goes. So we have a trend line, Fibo. This zone, I don't even remember why we drew it. Let's see. Okay, this is a daily level from these zones, you see. So it all comes together, and you know that there is a strong level for sure at that place. If that would be the case, and you know we're looking for bearish setups, I would be looking for divergence entries here. Why? Because I still have room to the upside, meaning that we can be creating this kind of things before moving on. And since I'm exposed to all this zone here, that entire area, right? I would like to attack with divergences because I expect to see a bounce, but this bounce, I'm not sure whether it's going to be an actual reversal and continuation or one more push and then continuation. That means this leg here should be delivering my profits. Okay, that should be my profit. And even if I want to go ahead and identify a potential continuation, you know, just price started moving lower, broke below the low, no divergences against, I know I have room at least up until the next zone. I'm going to move the stop loss to break even and let it develop. All right. But by all means, after the initial spike to the downside, I want to have enough room to either collect profits immediately, okay, like 70–80%, or at least move the stop loss to break even, because I don't know whether this is going to be the case or that. Does that make sense, guys? Do you understand why I'm looking for aggressive entry here with level divergence and pattern and not breakout, for example? Perfect. All right. Euro yen, the yen cousin. Daily chart, hidden divergence already in place even from that spike from that high here, right? Actually, not even, this is the one. This one didn't yet push, right? This one did not yet push upwards. It's very close to it, but not yet. And this is the one we're looking at. All right, so there is bearish pressure from the indicator. Trend line and levels. That's the first level, the dynamic one. Then catching the spike, that spike, this spike, and these guys here. Level number one, slightly higher, we're going to find more levels. Why? Because of this, etc., 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 right? So that would be basically the next zone above us that we need to pay attention to from daily chart. Now, once we drop lower, those levels look pretty good. Okay, they have some distance in between them, like 50 pips or so. That's perfect. But first of all, we need to go ahead and check out the current 4-hour chart cycle. This cycle at the moment created ABC. Okay, it reached the 100%, and it really doesn't look like a reversal yet. Okay, so that was consolidation around the 100, break above. Now we have a false break with divergence. Question is whether we're going to get there and continue lower, or we're going to break and possibly continue lower from that zone here. Okay, so again, as we discussed a few live rooms ago, we have the current price somewhere in between points 8 and B. B is my zone above, the very first one that I'm following. If broken, then I'm going to follow the next one, and so on and so on. Right? But we lock it in between the most recent levels of our analysis. So for me, the analysis is currently saying this is important low. Why? Because that's below 100 zone FIBO, right? The level that's below the possible convergence area. Okay, so either break below or push and sell. That's pretty much the whole idea. The only tricky part is this trend line. All right, so we need to keep an eye on that. If we get the breakout here, we're probably going to stop around this zone. So keep that in mind. Okay. What would be your, thank you, Roland. What would be your idea or favorite preferred scenario here, guys, for Euro Yen? This one or that one? Let's call this one 1 and this one 2. Let me pick your brain for a change. Número 2, okay, makes sense. May I ask why? For me, that would be a risk reward entirely. The higher it goes, if you're selling, the better, right? Yeah, but the risk reward, all right. I'm actually glad, I hope at least, that I have this influence on you guys to make you and polish you towards being more conservative and looks good. Okay, because majority of the people, when they join us, I see the very common thing is they want to be involved in a trade immediately. Like, I see 50 pip move, man, I need to be in that boom, sell. FOMO. Why? It's like selling a house, right? The bubble, the bigger it becomes, the better. The bubbles we see here with divergences. Price grows, better to sell here, guys, not here, right? And then once it bursts, boom, you make good profits. And most of the times, actually, I think you agree with that, is the more extended it is, the bubble, right? The bigger the bubble is, once it bursts, prices are dropping very fast. And this is what we like to see. Not Euro franc type of move. 6 weeks later, it moved 23 pips. All right, so that's about Euro and Euro Pound. Looking for aggressive sells, as I shared in the Telegram group just now. Why? Well, first of all, because of the zone and the level I have marked right here. This is a perfect zone, slightly above 61.8, which was already broken. Okay, that's not the perfect sign, right? But it's just one candle. It didn't give us any confirmations or so. And that's why I still consider it as the 61.1, 61.8 zone, okay, plus minus a bit. Then we have the 4-hour chart divergences that we've been talking about, okay, false breaks. Basically, the divergences started appearing from here. So again, speaking about bubbles, it's been extended, and we have two divergences plus a possible false convergence. Maybe it's already there. Okay, double top, but close to it. And then 1-hour chart, one leg divergence, beautiful candle pattern. And once we get the breakout, we can be attacking. Why do we need breakout and not the divergence? Because we're in a bullish trend, okay, and we don't yet have anything. And this trend is super extended, which means the bulls have power. When they have power, I don't like attacking like this, okay. If you're going to be trading divergence here, for the traders that love divergence, use pending orders, guys, okay. On a pullback, let's say in between the 50 to 78 zone of that move, I just dropped 15 minutes for a second. Zoom 50 towards, I would say, this level here. We have two zones, that's 61.8, so not relevant to close. This one, I guess this is around 78 after all. All right, so either sell from here, or split your risk to two. Then you can attack 0.5% here, 0.5% here. Not 0.5%, sorry, 50% of your lot size here and here. And tiny stops, if it moves even towards breakout zone, you can already cash out. All right, so that's about this one. What else do we have? One moment. List euro, pound, pound yen. Looking for sales, that's obvious. First divergence, 100% tested here. Okay. The question is whether we're going to start moving from that zone or create one more push higher and then continue with the move. And again, we have that dilemma. However, this time the hidden divergence is potential, but it's there, right? It's already in place. And we're right inside of the middle of this channel. Okay, so bouncing off of it, meaning we might be getting deeper pullbacks. And that's why I would prefer to trade here more conservative, guys, meaning with a breakout of a low, not just a trend line. All right, so getting to that zone would be lovely. On the way up, I would love to see lows being created on the 4-hour chart, not the 1-hour chart, and then attack. Currently on H1, the strongest zone that we have, the most recent one for me would be this, and that's 137.50. It's even psychological number, so perfect. But again, for this to be triggered, let's first of all see bar closing below, maybe pullbacks, hidden divergences, and so on. Or scenario number 2, that level for sales. Looks a bit of channel. Let's draw them lines. Yeah, it does. It does. I missed that. Thank you, Clive. So there you go. Now it makes even more sense, right? Because then we're going to have breakout of the channel plus breakout of the low. So even without drawing the channel, we're being conservative again here, which is good. Cool. What do we have? Dollar cut, skipping, pound yen, dollar franc, euro franc. Euro franc also skipping, guys, because that's really not what I'm looking for the buys. Okay, that more or less looks like one more push lower, and only then maybe something like that or this. But at the moment, definitely doesn't look like a bullish move. I don't know, not sure why, but purely price action and not there. Daily chart, I know it's here, it's all good, the level is there, but no momentum. Okay, that's why skipping as for now. Dollar franc, as we said here. So quickly recapping what we had, change the trend lines. The breakout, we're looking for pullbacks and continuations, and the pullback, deeper pullback we were looking for towards this zone, unfortunately was never delivered. It appears that we're starting to move inside some sort of a consolidation zone here. That could be horizontal range, that could be triangle range, wedges, etc., etc. Bottom line, looking for sell. How? If that would be a horizontal range, we can look for cells at the top. If it would be this kind of zone, not zone pattern, breakouts. Of course, if you prefer to be on the conservative side, and it turns out to be horizontal range, then you can look for breakouts also. Just keep in mind the risk-reward ratio and the levels which are forming. All right, this one, so we have counting this one also. Okay, 100 here, 61, and that one. Okay, so if you're going to trade the breakout, well, the levels marked, I guess that stayed from the previous analysis, but this is the zone we need to pay attention to, okay? Just a very quick overview, clean up the chart a bit because it's messy. And that's it. So make sure you have good risk reward towards this level. That's all we need to say, plus the entries, the potential entries we have. Franc-yen is another pair which was discussed yesterday from the videos. What do we have here, guys? We have trend line, momentum was created, hidden divergence, which is now restructuring itself as continuing divergence probably, unless it breaks, which is pretty close. Then we have this ABCD pattern that we're following. This is the 100%, the blue line basically. And now let's drop to the 4-hour chart. That's the blue line. Okay, this is the next level, not level, cycle that we're following. Okay, I'll remove those. And this is how it basically starts to look. We're currently inside zone number 1. Right, breaking above it, most likely. Momentum, divergence in place. So the move could be starting from here, which means we need to see break below these lows. We need to see break below the trend line as well. Okay, or of course the better option would be to see this, okay, and then that. Why? Because then we're probably going to create this divergence, then we're going to test and form the 100% of the daily, not form complete, and the 100% of this one. So again, we have the same decision to make if the move starts creating breakouts, whether we want to go ahead and be aggressive and try trading this one, or we want to be sticking to the more conservative approach and idea, which is the 200% levels. To be honest, it looks like we're going to reach those. It is in our favor somehow because of that zone, which is currently holding. Okay, the 61.8 was broken. Okay, this is the big one here. And you know that hidden trick when 61.8 is below the swing point that you're measuring. Like we have 3 points for the extension, right? 1, 2, 3. If 61.8 is below point number 2 or above point number 2, then chances are we're going to see the 100%. And this is why my focus again is on that level. Okay, that would be aggressive and in my opinion not really worth it, but of course I need to share it with you guys. It's your decision, it's your money, it's your trading style. I cannot just force you to do whatever I think is best, right? So there it is, 2 options on the table that we have. What else? franc, pound cut, breaking the trend line, which is very good. The daily cycle I'm following is this one. So basically we got the 61.8 pullback, now another drop. This is what I believe going to be at least providing us with deeper pullbacks for either leg number 4 and then 5, or creating leg number 5 immediately. Okay, either or, the next bullish move upwards should be more powerful, at least in my opinion. Okay, this one. 4-hour chart didn't really change much. We're just breaking below the low, same divergences, same stuff. Basically, we've been stuck inside this annoying zone for, I don't know, 1 or 2 weeks. So it's just starting to become interesting again. Euro cut range, Aussie cut paid insanely well. Okay, and here I believe you make the huge difference. We had again the same 2 scenarios, right? 61.8 or 100%. But here, guys, we had the hidden divergence, okay, as opposed to cable where we don't have hidden divergence. All right, so that's where we got levels, hidden divergence, and so on and so forth. Overall, when you look at it, it's again just this kind of pattern that once you attack here, once you attack here. All right, but when you put the whole checklist together, it becomes a completely different story. Okay, so please do follow up on your checklists and trade smart here. Aussie cut paying again insanely well. That's the bottom where I would be looking for possible bounces. First level almost reached. Let me just remove all that now. Okay, closing prices, spike price, another spike price in between. Basically that's the zone. Okay, that's the bottom of it. So once we start getting confirmations for possible reversals, time to cut the entire trade. Okay, Aussie dollar daily chart bouncing from the top of the range, sorry, not top, bottom here, and hidden divergence. 4-hour chart, again we have 2 scenarios, this one and that one, which is already being triggered. Okay, 100% cleared, 161 cleared. Divergence, divergence, breakout. Okay, here the problem is this trend line, and as we can see, the price is respecting it at the moment very, very well. Another issue that I have with that is the fact that we have 161.8, which means we might be completing a triple cycle here. All right, and since we have something blocking the price on its way down, I guess that would be again the more conservative idea. If you want to be already involved, which would be understandable because daily confirms, 4-hour chart confirms, okay, just use less risk. And attempt number 1 could be already in place. If you want to stick to conservative only, then this is the place to look for the sells. Okay, so aggressive entries, conservative entries. Aussie franc, we're at daily level, guys, and that's the beautiful part here. Okay, we also have cycles and levels and divergences, one leg divergence at the moment, zone, and so on and so forth. I do expect anywhere in between 1 to 3 days for us to see bullish moves here. Okay, Kiwi franc, nothing really changed since this range. Okay, I do expect continuation lower towards the 064, 063 zone, I guess, something like that right here. Okay, that's the Fibo level, that's the spikes, fantastic zone together with the divergence, and something like this to happen. Okay, this is where I'll be looking for possible buy opportunities. Sales currently in place, holding them. What was that? Kiwi franc, Kiwi CAD, pretty much same story. Okay, we're looking for sales, hidden divergence, bottom of the range, continuation lower with the 4-hour chart, and so on and so forth. Now the interesting part here, guys, is this trend line which we drew, and the idea of having a tiny aggressive exposure from a very well analyzed zone, okay, a place where you have at least minimum 2 levels, meaning Fibo plus range, for example, right, the bottom of the range, or Fibo plus trend line, but at least 2. And of course, the more the better. Once you know the direction which is down, if you manage to find yourself an entry, for example, 4-hour chart or 1-hour chart divergences, you can also apply Matryoshka principle, which means you come to this zone and you start dropping lower and lower and lower, looking for possible sell scenarios, which is aggressive, conservative kind of entry, right? Instead of using the 4-hour chart bar for entries, you drop to the 15-minute chart and you look for an actual pattern, a reversal pattern, which was given right here. Close below here, here, spikes from the very beginning. But if you go ahead and start looking for entries, again, something like 0.3, 0.25, 0.4, something like that, and you know that you're trading the daily chart, not 4-hour, not 1-hour, daily chart, and you're attacking with this, what's that? How many pips? I don't know, this tiny exposure of pips, you have amazing risk-reward ratios. Okay, so if you lose 0.25, it's nothing, right? It's a very small amount of money. You recover it fast, it doesn't affect you psychologically, and you can allow yourself to trade more aggressive. But once you catch the big fish like this one, okay, and once you become good in your analysis, you will be catching those big fishes, guys. Why not? Then the final risk reward could be indeed very rewarding. Okay, we're talking about, I don't know, 200-300 pips. Okay, so consider that as something that you can do. Of course, best would be to combine it with the higher time frames, the higher time frame cycles, because then it's much easier to analyze and to trade and to be correct and not being caught in tiny spikes. So Kiwi CAD continuation lower expected. Once we break below that low, we're entering bullish divergence territory. Just something for you to remind. Aussie Kiwi, a bit surprising. The way it started moving here with this, like I was really expecting some sort of breakout, to be honest. But again, we work with facts. divergence, false break respecting this trend line, break above, becomes automatically bullish as of this bar or the previous one. Okay, top of the range, you know what to do. Euro Aussie is another fellow which is following our plan. Well, guys, I told you this move here, everyone got excited, but it's just not an impulsive move. Okay, it doesn't fit the idea. It doesn't break the levels. So the plan that we had for this 5-leg structure, then pullbacks and sells. Again, if you're being conservative and you wait for your confirmations, you just don't get into an entry. You save money. There you go. And then, boom, it started pushing higher, cleaning the stops now. Everyone who saw the stop was here, burned. I do follow this cycle, and that cycle is telling me the target. So let's do that live now and remove this scenario. What I'm following here is this level, the blue one. From here, I would like to see sell opportunities and then do that. Why? Because again, this is the 4-hour chart cycle plus a daily level, excluding the spike here, of course. And if that zone holds, it would be perfect. And if it takes a few days to develop, it would be even better, because we need to have lows on the 4-hour chart ideally to trade conservatively. We want to see the price, which is super extended in my opinion at the moment, big bubble basically. In other words, read it as a big bubble, to burst from here, anywhere inside here, which means it could be approximately a week, but 3, 4, 5 days candles. And I would like to see this breakout above this zone. Okay, this is just a few pips above the previous spikes, at least on my broker. Let's talk numbers, guys. Sorry, 160. Damn, I can't see it. 163.85. Okay, that's the level. Looking for sell opportunities maximum at that zone. Let's see what else we have. Pound, Aussie, pushing upwards, breakout. Okay, it couldn't break below, which is kind of strange. Okay, because now we have this, which is going to bring us back to divergence before a breakout. Anyway, it becomes weird, but let's see how it develops. Might be wrong. Bottom line, expecting pullbacks now. Okay, expecting pullbacks. I don't have anything for trading opportunities inside for this pair, not inside. Okay, again, some sort of channel or whatever this is going to become, but not entirely clear to me. 1-hour chart, top, divergences. I'm looking at this thing for the 3rd time, and when it's not there, it's not there, guys. I don't know. I don't have any ideas for this one. Do you have ideas here how we can trade it? Help me out a bit, please. Guys, any suggestions or? Well, divergence did form many times, including here and double top here, but I'm trying to figure out what kind of pattern we're creating. Okay, and if we go back to the basics, which is the cycle on the 4-hour chart, let's just draw it because it's easier. We have something like this, right? This is the cycle, that's clear. Now we want to see pullbacks, and those are the next levels, 38 to 50, something like here. Question is, how do we count this one? And that's the part where I'm failing to understand. ABC was ABC possibly, or extended leg. I really hate those spikes. If we measure it like that, too many lines, hold on. That would be a lovely place to look for sales, okay. But if that would be the case, then we're going back above the trend line, okay? So, I don't know. Ideally, I would like to stay below the trend line, complete this ABCD around the 100, and then see the pressure down forming. And who said divergence? So something like this maybe. Trend lines here, lows here. I don't know. Let's see how it develops. But usually, oh, we have more. Hold on. Starting to run the Bollinger Bands on 30, 60 minute and 4 hour pound Aussie. What does it mean starting to run? Like going upwards with it? Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. Well, again, let's see. What I was going to say is the rule of the 30 seconds or 1 minute, whatever your average analysis time is, applies here. You open, you start looking. For me, analysis time for any given pair is between 30 seconds to 1 minute. Okay. If I'm not able to find it, to read it clearly what's going to happen there and find the patterns and all that, I really better skip it, guys. Okay, and this is one of those pairs. It looks clear. Okay, overall it looks clear. This is what we're looking for, but I cannot pinpoint it at the moment. Need to see it developing. Cool. Let's see what else we have. We got Aussie, Euro Kiwi. Well, this one is finally pushing upwards. Okay, we had some fun. First bullish attempt was here somewhere. Target one reached, continuation lower, and then after the 161.8, I started believing we're going to get some pullbacks and continuation. That, however, was not the case. Luckily, there was no entries provided. Okay, so the worst thing that happened here is invalidation of a possible plan. Then we have a breakout of the trend line, and then we start reading that as an ABCD, which perfectly fits the plan that we had a few days ago or a week ago. And that plan is corrective divergence, continuation. We're looking for one more push higher. I believe we are getting that. Once we break here, we can start looking for sell setups. Okay, inside this box. That's about Euro Kiwi, guys. Back to the original plan here after the breakout. Silver is following also the idea. Basically, we wanted to see push, breaking, pushing higher to complete the impulsive wave, and also to create the momentum above that zone. And this is exactly what we got here. That was the whole idea behind this analysis, okay? And that wish of ours or dream of ours to see it, and we did see it. Pullbacks for buys. The only problem I do have is with this very strong move to the downside, which means we need to be careful. And if we drop to the 1 hour chart, we are about to see divergence probably being formed, which means this kind of breakout more like this, okay? And this kind of breakout here would be a bullish opportunity for me. Levels, here we have one around the 61.8. I have no idea where this level is coming from, but it's pretty accurate. We can also go ahead and draw our own levels because we can. That's the bottom part. Oops. And that's the top part. And let's put some cover into it. Boom. All right. Do we have hidden divergences from the bottom? We do have one. Not many, just one, but I think it's enough. I also believe we have a trend line here, which is still holding. Yep, we do. So that would be a lovely false break of this trend line to catch some stops from the guys trading this. Okay. And that's pretty much all. Looking for buys. Okay. Gold, same story. Pullbacks, continuation. That's the top level here, the top zone. That starts approximately at here, 1365.50. Okay. This is the beginning of the possible end. And I'm really curious to see whether we're going to complete and push lower again, or we're going to break and continue higher. Okay, because that starts to form something interesting. So that could be possibly a continuation upwards. Let's see, guys. Let's see. I guess it will take, well, a few weeks, maybe. Who knows? Not good with timing. That's about gold. And finally, we have reached with, not with the oil, crude oil, looking for pullbacks. No divergences, all right, so those could be limited. I see a zone which I forgot to put here on the chart, this one. 38 plus 61.8, okay, great level here. Fibonacci level, I mean great level here also. And the one we saw, which means those could be spikes. This is how I read it. And looking for continuation downwards, guys. It's pretty straightforward here. So that's my list. Those are my ideas. Of course, we're going to update and follow up on those during the week. Okay. That's all. Could we see pound, US what? Pound franc maybe? Wow, that's specific. Okay, let's see. GU is covered. Please watch the recording once available, okay? Let's not waste time for things we covered already. All right, guys. Thank you then. Bye for now.